We have painted a very clear picture of Joe and Hunter Biden's escapades in China. Hunter's laptop, along with informant Gal Luft and Hunter's own business partners, Tony Bobulinski and Rob Walker, give us a very clear picture of a vice president working with his son to collect millions from Chinese communists for doing their bidding in the United States, and a Department of Justice simply looking the other way, far more concerned at the time with removing Donald Trump from power. Incredibly, this moment we find ourselves in right now is not just a political and legal disaster for the President of the United States, it's also become vindication for the last president, specifically when we refer to Joe and Hunter Biden's activities in Ukraine. This week, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who sits on James Comer's House Oversight Committee, confirmed to the Daily Caller the informant who told the FBI that he paid the Bidens $10 million is, in fact, the founder of Burisma Energy, Mykolai Zlochevsky. It's him right there. A company that was under investigation by Ukraine's government until Joe Biden pressured Ukraine's president to fire that prosecutor.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
Moment we'll always remember now. In June of 2020, the founder of Burisma told the FBI that he paid Joe and Hunter Biden a $10 million bribe back when Biden was vice president and Obama's point man on Ukraine. And the FBI buried that report in June of 2020. The Bureau's top brass needed to push Donald Trump out of the White House. This week, Joe Biden was in Helsinki, Finland, which has the establishment media reflecting on Trump's visit to the same city from 5 years ago and his meeting with Vladimir Putin, where Trump declared that he was a skeptic of his own intelligence agencies in a way, especially when it comes to Russian interference and collusion in the election that he won.
They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
That moment, and it was fireworks all over. Just to remind you, here was the rage that followed Trump's comment from Helsinki in 2018.
It's something that is a disgrace, and that all Americans should be ashamed of that performance.
President Trump appeared to throw America's intelligence community under the bus.
The president's comments made us look as a nation more like a pushover.
There has really never been a performance, I think, in American politics that is like it. And you can only imagine why.
So it's wild to look back on all this now with so much validation for the former president, and now we can clearly see just how corrupted the American deep state is, our intel agencies are, the American media, their lapdogs. Now, we're not saying Trump should have ever trusted Putin. He shouldn't. He doesn't trust Putin. It's pretty obvious. He just knew his own intel agencies so often lie, as we now know they do. He knew his own intel agencies were against him, as we now know they were. He knew this years before anybody could effectively prove it, but now we have. Now, we know American intelligence worked to undermine the former president, eventually worked to remove him from power, and pushed hard to protect his opponent, hiding all of Joe Biden's corruption from American voters. Remember the first Trump-Biden debate with Chris Wallace, the debate many think hurt Trump the most in the 2020 election? Knowing what we know now, watch the highlight from that debate with hindsight and see how much different it looks with everything we've talked about on this show for the last couple weeks.
Why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
None of that. Totally discredited. And by the way,
well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
he got $3.5 million.
That is not true.
Did Burisma pay him $183,000 a month? with no experience in energy?
Mr. President,
with no
My
job?
son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
you get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Clown. In hindsight, the corrupt man was the victim in that, and the guy screaming the truth was the villain. Well, how do you see it now? Trump screaming the cold, hard truth right to his corrupt opponent's face, and a Fox News moderator who didn't want to hear any of it. We now know why. Spitting facts the DOJ knew were true, but was working to conceal. All that happening in real time, just long before we could ever prove it. Imagine the frustration for him against the world, as it usually is for the former president in Washington. His validation finally comes. Here's an email found on Hunter's laptop, a message from the liaison between Hunter Biden and Burisma's owner, referred to as Nikolai in the email. The liaison's message lays out what Nikolai expects for his millions and millions of dollars. The scope of work should also include organization of a visit of a number of widely recognized and influential current and former U.S. policymakers to Ukraine in November, aiming to conduct meetings with and bring positive signal, message, and support on Nikolai's issue to the Ukrainian top officials above. Here's the best part. With the ultimate purpose to close down for any cases, pursuits against Nikolai in Ukraine. We can't really make it much more obvious, can we? Not long after that, Vice President Joe Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion of your dollars from Ukraine until the president fired that prosecutor investigating Burisma, and he got it done. You saw, he bragged about it on camera to a laughing crowd. And now we have all the receipts the Department of Justice hoped you would never see. How different does that debate look now? And Trump, before the last election, knowing all of this, watching his own Department of Justice obviously protecting his 2020 opponent, called up Ukraine's new president and told him to expose Biden's corruption because his own DOJ refused to. His own DOJ was trying to install his opponent, who's corrupt. And the mainstream narrative in this country is that Trump is the criminal. After everything we've laid out, Democrats in Congress impeached him for that phone call. What a town, right?